Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/maliciouscompliance. So sit back, relax and enjoy some satisfying stories. My children will be paying the same rate as me. So I'm the owner of a landscaping business that my father started. He retired last year. He still checks in and helps a lot on the business end of things until I get my footing. We work in a city in South Florida, and about 95% of our customers are above the age of 60. My dad has 3 clients that we charge at a very low rate because they've used him since the start of the business. 2 out of the 3 are great. They understand they're being charged a low rate and love us for it. But we have this one lady that is very hard to deal with. My dad refuses to let go of her contact without a legitimate reason. That's just who my dad is. She has 2 daughters and they both own homes with their husbands. We get a call from this lady asking us to take on her daughters. I told her if she would like to give them our number, I can talk with them and get it figured out. I was doing this as a favor to my dad, really, because adding the 2 extra properties right now stretches us pretty thin, and I'll probably have to help out as well as my cousin, who basically manages the crews. Anyone will tell you expanding with a landscaping company is not as easy as it seems, and it's bordering along the impossible without proper planning. So one of the 2 daughters call in and give me their details, and I told them I could come out and meet them and give them an estimate as soon as possible. That was met with a few seconds of silence and followed by, my mum has told me about the rate she paid, and we were under the assumption that we'd be paying those same rates. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do that, ma'am. We give her a special discount for being with us for so long. Ma'am is my mum, and I'm sure she won't be happy to hear about this. Okie dokie, click. And after yelling click, she hung up the phone. Not seriously, just a joke. So I don't think anything of it. Tell my pops what happened, we had a laugh about it and how entitled the people where we live are. Late that night, I get a call from the crazy lady. Hello? Let me explain something to you. We have a way of doing things in our town, and you just broke rule number 1. The customer is always right. You told me you would take on my daughters, and I expect you to do just that. I told your daughters I could take them on, but not at the same rate. I never said I would be charging the same rate. Yes, you absolutely did, and I expect you to hold your word like your father would. He would be so disappointed in you right now. I'm guessing she didn't know my dad still took part in the business, because he avoids her at all costs. Okay, ma'am, I'll see what I can do. You better. This is just not how you do business. Okay. I went to my dad and told him about it. He told me to end her contract. I told him I had a better idea, and he agreed to it. Now, I say contract, but it's just a monthly billing for her contract, due to it being so low. So I call her back the next day. Hello? Hello there, Mrs. Blank. It's me, Blank, your landscaping company, calling you back. I hope you have some good news, because I still feel slighted. Oh, I have some news. We will be giving your daughters the same rate as you insisted. Perfect. When can I tell them you'll be over? We'll get to that, but we have to discuss your new rates first. What new rates? I didn't agree to new rates. Oh, well, you requested to pay the same amount as your daughters. So we've taken away the special discount we've given you, and your new rate will be $800 a month. That will start in 2 months from now. What came after was incoherent screaming and her hanging up. She called the next day but refused to talk with me. She tried talking with my cousin, but he referred her to me. She tried getting a hold of my dad, but he shut off his work cell long ago. She eventually called back and tried to negotiate with me, but I told her it was all at her request and too late to go back on it. She dropped us the next month. She had been a thorn in my dad's side for so long. He was relieved when I told him about the call. He didn't want me to have the extra stress of dealing with her anyway. That was a really great malicious compliance, but I just want to point out the fact that it was $800 a month for a normal rate. Isn't that like absurdly high? Or is this like for mansions and stuff, people with huge gardens? Already know how to hold a kitten? No kitten for you. Bit of a background here. I'm currently fostering some tiny kittens that require bottle feeding every 4 to 6 hours. Not my first foster litter, and definitely not my last. So far, they've been very nice. Cute kittens that purr. Our work has a lax policy about bringing pets, so I've been bringing these guys with me since, they need frequent feeding. Sometimes when a client comes in, I'll hand them a kitten while they wait, especially if they have a family with children with them. The kids are thrilled. The parents take photos of the kids oohing and ahhing over the fuzzy animals, and the kittens enjoy the attention. Win-win for everyone. The only thing is, I know not every kids know how to hold kittens, so I'm often explaining how to do it safely and offering support. Most times, the children are just giggly with happiness and totally receptive to anything I have to say, and things go well. Anyway, one evening we get this family that comes in, a mum and her 3 girls. The youngest is a toddler and passed out. The other 2 are like 7 and 10. The 10-year-old is at that stage of life where she thinks she knows everything. Just real flippant answers to mum and myself. I already know that, mum. Complete with the eye rolling and scoffing. It's delightful. It's taking a while to get their stuff together, so to keep me from strangling the 10-year-old, I decide to offer a kitten. The girl seems thrilled and I snag a kitten. I go to the 10-year-old first, much to the 7-year-old's dismay, and start to hand over the kitten to the older girl, going into my spiel. Okay, you want to make sure you're supporting the whole body. 10-year-old rolls her eyes at me. Yeah, I've held hundreds of kittens before, it's not new to me. I pause briefly and think, really? I'm about to hand you this adorable kitten when you had literally nothing to do before this and you want to try this with me? An evil idea penetrates my skull and I act fast. I snatch that kitten back before she can so much as brush its fur with her fingertips and plaster the most sickly sweet smile on my face. Oh, you have? Well, this would probably be very boring for you then. Let's just go ahead and give him to your sister. And I proceed to hand the kitten over to the 7-year-old, who is just vibrating with excitement. I'm making sure to keep a hand on the kitten's body so I can guide the kid through holding the kitten as I continue with, I don't think I've even held 50 kittens, much less hundreds. This kitten is so soft, but I'm sure you've seen softer. That's a lie about how many kittens I've touched. I mean, that kitten was incredibly soft. It's got blue eyes, the 7-year-old yells to mum. 10-year-old looks absolutely devastated, but can't do anything except sulk because, after all, she's held hundreds of kittens. Needless to say, she left our office without so much as touching a pinky to that very purring kitten. Hey, well, if you don't listen to instructions that you need to listen to, then you don't get to do the activity, do ya? Don't send emails without approval? Sure. A bit of a background. I work as a software developer for a large financial institution. For the past 5 years, I have been the technical expert and generally most knowledgeable person on our team about one specific problematic system. As such, I have a lot of conversations with members of the business side who use the application, from grunts to C-level executives. At least that was the case up until the introduction of M+. M+ was my manager's manager. About 2 years ago, we were having a discussion about a specific piece of work. In this case, I had sent an email to the business partners about a feature we wanted to add that our internal IT team could do. The business was asking if we could offload the work to the software vendor to save time, and I sent a message to the group saying that we could, but it would still require resources from our side and could potentially cause delays, as the vendor has their own priorities and we have to wait. Now, the real problem was that we as a department had just implemented some new change management policies that the business tried to work around as much as possible. So when I said that the fastest method was to follow the new protocols, M+ found out. She believed that the business was always right, and that our job was to do exactly what the business told us to do. She told my manager that my email was out of line, because I had represented the department to people above my position on the org chart. Her solution? Every email I sent to the business, if it included folks in any level of management, had to be routed through her so that she could review the email and sign off on it before it went to the business. Now, remember how I said the system is problematic? I will send messages to the business users at least 5 times a day regarding the application, including anything from small outages to responding to functional questions, because I am the only one who knows the process. Since all these messages included the department managers, I would forward them onto M+, every single one. Need to let the business know we are deploying a change over the weekend and there will be an outage? Better get a sign off. User having issues loading a file and asking for help figuring out why? Well, that user is a manager, so I need to sign off on each email in the chain. Oh, and since she wants to sign off, I clearly can't just CC her. Every reply needs to go to her and only her before being forwarded onto the business. Don't want to overstep my position as a lowly peon. I guarantee that will last maybe a week tops before she's like, alright, we're gonna do something else instead. Boss complains no matter what I do, so I may as well have some fun with it. My boss likes to find asinine stuff in my work and about me to complain about. He'll fixate on things that ultimately have little to no bearing on our actual work, and bring them up repeatedly over the course of months or years, just to have a reason to complain about or demean me in some way. I'm done with the keep your head down mentality and started pushing back. Issue number 1. The unused columns in my Excel workbooks are too big, therefore I am a big dum-dum. Context. I build quotes for the customers in a web program, which then spits out a spreadsheet that I finish up in Excel. The column's default width is too small for all the data, so the most effective solution is auto-size the whole workbook to neatly display all of the data in each cell, versus manually sizing each column and row one by one. The problem with this, apparently, is that all the empty columns in the rest of the workbook get auto-sized really wide. It shouldn't matter to anyone because, well, those columns are empty void space that doesn't get used or even looked at, since all we care about are the existing data columns. But it matters to him, exclusively, for some reason, even he can't put words to. It's just not how he likes it. And so he complains about it at every opportunity, even going so far as to tell other people I don't know how to use Excel. The response. Now, once I finish working up the data columns, I reselect all of the empty columns and auto-size the remaining workbook to the opposite of too big, really freaking small. So now there are about 80 of them on screen instead of 4. Takes me all of 10 extra seconds to do it, so it's worth it. And for the record, that's how long it would take him to do it if he bothered trying. Jury's still out as to if he'll complain about that too, but as expected, no one else has even noticed the change, probably because no one else cares about the empty cells. Issue number 2. I didn't respond to a text message he sent to my personal phone on a Saturday. My response: after much arguing over the better part of a year, including 2 performance reviews, I realized the simplest and most effective solution was to simply not have a cell phone. So I blocked his number. Now he hears an automated, "This number is no longer in service if he calls," and told him I cancelled my cell phone service because it costs too much. As expected, this didn't settle well, so I reminded him that nothing in my employment contract or company handbook requires me to have a personal cell phone, and then used that as a segue to tell him I would be happy to take an on-call pay if they wanted to provide me with a company phone and plan. Also, per our company handbook, he hasn't brought it up since. To be fair, you're probably doing a pretty good job with everything else if the boss is pointing out empty spreadsheet columns. Like, they can't find anything else to complain about, so they're like, that's wrong. So, I mean, you're probably good at your job. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now, or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like. And if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.